it's the Mad Queen. Welcome into the Queen's Lair. This is an updated version of a video I made about 5 months ago. You actually cannot find that video anymore. It is private, and for a very good reason. But I did just start a new series on my channel where I'm going back and roasting some of my old content. So if you guys kind of want to see that, it is a bit of fun. You can check that out. Also, I never ask you guys to subscribe in videos by voice. I always leave like a little button, but I'm really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can get monetized on my channel. I have a lot of people that are returning to watch content, but they're not actually subscribing. So if you guys could hit that sub button, I would really appreciate it. I will say that I'm going to try to keep this between like 5 and 10, my top 5 to 10 worst legendaries in the game. And also, I am going to be very soon going into every faction in the game and going over all of the heroes for each faction, letting you know who the best and worst of all of the heroes there are. So keep an eye out for that. That's going to be pretty good. So I just have to remember on this one that we're not going from faction to faction. I do have a list written down, but there's a few of them I keep changing my mind on. So the very first one, which is not going to be a surprise, I'm going to go ahead and just get out of the way. Hopefully I click on the right faction. Yes, Crisis is going to be Goobag. This is no surprise. But I will say, if you have an A5 Goobag, he would not be on this list. A5 Goobag is not bad, which means you've been able to ascend him 5 times. I do have him. I've not been able to ascend him 5 times. I think I have ascended him once or twice, but only because I've gotten duplicate copies of him. It was not intentional by any means. So Goobag is, honestly, it's funny because whenever you go into stages against the AI and there's a Goobag, he smacks. He just puts the smack down. It's insane. He can take a lot of damage and he can deal quite a bit of damage as well. But whenever you're using him on your team in a real instance, it is not the same. It's always kind of like that though, isn't it? It's always kind of like that. I'm pretty sure it is. But anyways, if you have A5 Goobag, he wouldn't be on this list. He would still be kind of closest to it, but he wouldn't be at the very bottom. But Goobag is a mixture of speed and poison. He does a lot of different things. Honestly, I think for a really long time, people just didn't understand how to use him and how to use his kit, which is understandable because there's a lot going on here with him. And unless you have a fair amount of knowledge within the game and about the game, it is going to be hard for you to figure out how to use him. And even then, when you do figure it out, it's kind of like, so unless you have A5 Goobag, please do not, by any means, do not stretch and try to grasp at getting A5 Goobag. Don't be out there buying any of those orange hierarchy soul potions to level him up. Do not do that, please. But yes, so Goobag is going to be the first one. Of course, he has literally been on this list, not only for myself, but for so many people for such a long time. He is just, man. And honestly, there are other people that will rate the heroes overall based off of if they are good with their ascension. Personally, I think that the ascension should just be an overall boost of the actual hero, not what makes or breaks them. I'm not rich, you know, I'm not a mega whale. I can't spend a ton of money in the game. So if he's not going to be useful unascended, then he's out of here, you know? But of course, some people do have the resources. If you have those resources, maybe one day I'll be there with you and win the lottery. But as of now, I'm not. Next up on my list is, okay, so I told you I have a couple of options, but the next one I want to specifically go over is going to be Darcy. So if you are familiar with Darcy's kit, it is actually fairly promising, and it offers quite a bit of utility. You think that, at least when she first came out, I remember, you know, thinking, wow, she's going to have so much utility. I think she's going to be or he, I don't, it has boobs. I've heard other people call Darcy a he, but it has boobs. So I think it's a she. I don't know. But Darcy, whatever, he, she, it, is very underwhelming. Very underwhelming. And it's unfortunate because I think that the game really lacks on having good fire element heroes. I think that is where they are lacking the most as far as DPS units go. And they could have done a lot here with this. I think that honestly, man, and look, I have her, I don't know what I have her at. I think I do have her, and I have her at least at level 60. It doesn't matter if the legendary is good or bad. I always make them level 60 so that I can get those 5 days of, of free goodies. Because why not? But she is very underwhelming, and man, she just doesn't quite cut it. It's really hard to put your finger on it with exactly what the deal is with her, because again, she does have a lot of potential, but she's not the one. All right. So if you pull Darcy and you get excited and then you see this video, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be the crusher of bad dreams and the crusher of all things good, but Darcy is unfortunately not a friend. Hopefully one of these days, like, you never know. I always say that. You never know what's going to happen. But today, she is not the one. Next up, so for my third one, I also want to say these guys are not really in any specific order either. I'm just kind of throwing them out there as I have them written down on my list, which I didn't put them in an order. It was just kind of like, yeah, this person is not good. This person's not good. This person's not good. Or actually, this person's not that bad. And so is worse than they are. So the next person I have is probably going to be another non-surprise for you guys. It's actually going to be Desmond, which is unfortunate because honestly, and I know I say this a lot about the bad heroes, but Desmond really does have a really interesting kit. He has Plague, which is very unique. I'm pretty sure that he is the only hero in the game that has Plague. There could be somebody else, but I can't think of who it might be. I can really only think about Desmond having Plague. And there was a time where Desmond was usable in some dungeon content, but then they made it to where you can't use Plague on bosses. And honestly, they've just made him unusable. I have Desmond. I think he looks really cool as far as aesthetics go. He is one of the better, cooler looking heroes in the game, in my opinion, at least. But his kit is really neat. And I wish he was at least usable. It's just, man, I'm not saying you can't use him, but why would you use him when there are a lot of other heroes that are much better than him? So unfortunately, he is in my bottom 5 or however many I'm going to be doing in this video. I'm going to try to stick around 5 so we don't have another 20-minute video going on here, but hopefully one of these days we're going to see a change on that. But whatever. Let's see. So next, my number 4, like I said, again, not in any order, is going to be just a couple factions over. And they are going to be here in the free cities. Take just 1 second here to think about who I might mention from free cities, because honestly, the legendaries in free cities are overwhelmingly good. And unfortunately, it is Mr. Finderich. I do have Finderich. I've made an all about video on him. I got him whenever he first came out. I have tested this guy and retested this guy and retested this guy. All right. They have also done some buffs to him as well. He has, again, it's like a broken record. He has potential. He has potential. He has S tier attack. 1500. That is very, very good. And that is honestly one of the highest that you're going to see on legendary heroes. I do think I have mine at level 70. He might be at 60 though. His kit works off of rage, and all of his abilities are basically basic abilities. So he's supposed to work really well with William. I tried him out on the guild boss. I tried him out in so many different places. He is not able to give himself enough turns. I will say he can smack pretty hard. He is able to get some really decent hits. The only thing is the way they have his kit worded does not align up with how he actually works either, which you'll notice if you have him and if you've used him, it doesn't line up. He is doing some stuff that doesn't make sense, and it doesn't say anywhere in his abilities why he is doing that or what you can do to make him do more of that. So that's a bit frustrating whenever, you know, the ability wording is a little off and, you know, you can't get a full grasp on, you know, how the hero 100% works. But I have used him a lot, and they have actually done a couple of, I think 2 buffs on him since he's came out, making him, or because they really did want him to be a higher tiered hero. They wanted him to be good. So they, after I made my first video where I was saying basically he's just not good, they did reach out to me and they were like, hey, you know, did you try him with these guys and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yes, I did. I did try them. He is not doing it. And they actually did do a couple of reworks after that. And since then, like I said, I have tested him out again. It's still not there. I don't know. They need to do something. It was nice because the suggestions I did make to make him better, I'm pretty sure they did actually use for the most part. Not quite to what I had said, but they did boost the things that I suggested overall. He could be really good, but he's missing something, honestly, just something. He needs to be able to have more turns, to be able to give himself extra turns more consistently, because if you're going to use him on the guild boss, he's going to need to be able to not only do damage, but also help you keep that rage meter down as well. And he is just not going to be able to do that for you, unfortunately. And lastly, I know it's supposed to be 1, but this spot was really hard for me. And it is definitely between a few different heroes, not just 1. So instead of just saying 1, I am going to mention probably like 3 different heroes. And you guys can let me know what you think. The reason why it's hard for me to just set that last one is because they have actually done quite a few reworks and buffs and boosts on a lot of heroes. Even a lot of these guys that I'm saying are poo-poo, okay? So I am trying to give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. I know that before those reworks, they were not good at all. And after the reworks, you're not really seeing them come out of the woodworks at all. So, you know, and I do have a pretty good idea on how all of these that I'm going to mention work. I have been able to use all of them, and I have them all personally. They just they're just not doing it. I am going to be skipping around a bit here. So the first one is going to be Fahim. Honestly, I think Fahim is really, really cool. He did recently just have a buff, and I think it was helpful, but I think it was not enough. And also, you are more than welcome to disagree with me in any way, shape, or form. Put it in the comments. If you disagree with me, let me know why. You know, we're learning from each other. It's an experience, of course. Everything that any content creator says is all based on opinion purely. So let me know, and we'll talk about it more there. But anyways, Fahim has an interesting kit, and I don't know. Again, he looks pretty sweet. I do have a copy of Fahim, and oh man, I tried him out once or twice, and I just couldn't. You know, I just couldn't with him. I will say though that since his buff, I have not reused him. It's frustrating though, because as you can see, he has an insane amount of base attack. So who knows, maybe in a month or two, I'll be making another one of these videos and I'll be roasting myself over this video saying, you know, why did I say Fahim was bad? I hope that's the case. I love to see transitions of heroes where they're phasing, you know, different heroes in and out. That makes the game more interesting, and you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. It makes you be more flexible, and you actually have to understand the game. You can't just copy off of everybody else. You have to keep up with what's actually changing and going on in the game. And nextly, one of my other not so favorite guys, I might be skipping over one of them, but where are we? Ooh, Fiona. So Fiona has also recently had a buff as well. I have played with her since then. If you don't know, Fiona can actually be kind of a monster in RTA. She can be a monster in RTA, but you have to have some super in-game gear on her for her to be like that. I also believe, I can't remember exactly, that I think you might need her ascension. Yeah, I think you need her her ascension for her to really be a monster. But she's able to sustain quite a bit of damage while also dealing a decent amount of damage too. But like I said, to make that happen, you are going to have some really in-game gear and some, you know, be able to do some in-game content within the game. My goodness, how many times am I going to say that word? But anyways, you know what I'm saying. So, and then on to the next one. The last one I'm going to mention in this video is going to be a couple of factions over from where we just came. I don't know, I could have made it easier just by, you know, doing that. But of course, I never make anything easy. Aubry. Aubry is a support hero. And listen, when I say it's tough putting Aubry here because, again, Aubry has also had some buffs as well. But as far as supports go, he is one of the worst within legendaries. I wouldn't say overall out of every legendary in the game, he's probably the worst, but as far as supports go, he is not the best. There are a lot of other heroes that are much better. I do have a copy of Aubry as well, and I have been able to play with them and test them out. There are very specific circumstances where Aubry can be pretty good. But again, the way I like to look at things is, you know, if the hero is really only good in one place, you know, there's not really, you know, it's lacking a lot of purpose. And a lot of people can't afford resource-wise, time-wise, to go all in on a hero that they're only going to be able to use in one place. So I do recommend, if you have Aubry and, you know, you haven't tested him out, or honestly, any of these guys, play around with them, test them out, you know, see what you can do with them. Maybe you're going to be the first person to find, you know, some kind of magic unlock code for them to be really good that nobody else has been able to find. But let me know what you guys think specifically. Leave a comment below. Join my Discord as well. The link for that is always in the description of every video ever. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next.